Hello and welcome to the second film in our Threshold series, in which we consider the key characteristics of doors that connect exterior and interior spaces. The first characteristic is self-evident. They must allow people and objects to pass from one space into another through a wall opening. As a result, the size of a door is determined by who or what will pass through it. The more people who need to pass through a door at once and the bulkier the pianos, furniture and paintings to be carried through it, the larger the door opening will have to be. In the case of doors leading to attractive outdoor spaces, such as gardens and patios in particular, the size of the opening is often determined not only by the people and objects that will have to pass through it, but also by the desire to make the connection between interior and exterior as fluid as possible. In our workshop building in the port of Zwenkau, for example, the meeting area can be opened up to connect with the terrace in fine weather. It must also be possible to seal exterior doors so as to prevent the ingress of rainwater. The key factor here is watertightness, that is to say, the ability of the door to withstand rain driven against it by the wind. Exterior doors also need to be able to be locked against intrusion by unwanted guests, though it is something of a fallacy to imagine that doors can be made completely burglar-proof. In actual fact, the burglar resistance of exterior doors is classified according to the length of time a professional burglar requires to open them. Nowadays, exterior doors also need to be accessible or barrier-free. This means that the two spaces joined by the door must be at the same level as must any threshold strip between them. The aim here is to allow people with reduced mobility the same access to all parts of a building as the able-bodied. This gives rise to construction difficulties, as we will see a little later on. The issue of accessibility is governed by German standard DIN 18040, Construction of Accessible Buildings, Design Principles. The requirements that it sets out go much further than the need to provide wheelchair access. The construction of accessible buildings aims to ensure that all sections of the population are able to participate equally and as independently as possible in the everyday life of society. Other terms you'll hear in this context include social inclusion and, with special reference to architecture, inclusive building design. Summary. The size of a door is determined not only by the people and things that have to pass through it, but also by the desire to make the connection between interior and exterior as fluid as possible, as in the case of patio doors, for example. Exterior doors need to be watertight to prevent the ingress of rainwater even during heavy rain. It must be possible to lock exterior doors so as to prevent unwanted guests from entering. Exterior doors generally need to be accessible. Accessibility requirements are set out in DIN 18040, Construction of Accessible Buildings, Design Principles. Please take a look at the third film in our Threshold series, in which we examine the relationship between the base of a building and its thresholds.